PIB taps, flick, whatever you guys have on. Gloves, and it's gonna be your mop top and mop bottom. So let's say everybody on Modi tracking, you guys didn't get that issue, right? Alright. So what you're gonna do for the test day, you gotta wear your wet weather top and your wet weather bottoms, alright? If you're wearing your level 5 or your marshmallows, you gotta put it. I would just take off the marshmallows and because you gotta have to have that over it, alright? So just make sure you guys are tracking the has to be wet weather top and wet weather bottom. I'm not gonna make you guys put on the hood, but you guys gotta have to do that. Gloves can be any type of gloves, alright? It's not gonna be the zebra gloves, but you gotta make sure that they're serviceable, that they can't have any holes in it or anything like that, alright? Yep, alright, so tasks. Treat a couch seat with an open head wound. Condition: you are a member of a team on a combat patrol in a seaborne environment that has come in under indirect fire. You witness a teammate in the open receive fragmentation to your head. Your teammate was able to move to you and is responsive. You are behind cover, not under hostile fire, and your teammates have established a security perimeter. You must begin treatment while waiting on medical personnel to arrive. The injured soldier is conscious and alert. You are in a mission-oriented protective posture, MOP level 3, and standards perform all tasks to standard in sequence within 5 minutes without causing further injury to the casualty. All right, we're gonna get into it. All right, so your first task, one time, he's gonna say 3, 2, 1, begin. Your first task is to ask casualty 3 questions.
What is your name? Where are you? And what is today's date?
All right, and then the grader's gonna save the casualty response. All right, those 3 questions don't have to be in order and don't have to be verbatim. That being said, you have to ask those 3 questions. You can't ask any other questions. All right, everybody checking that? All right. Second step, it says have the casualty sit up. The casualty is already going to be sitting up. All right. What Sergeant Maldonado is going to do, I recommend you guys just getting behind him. It's just easier to wrap. When it comes to the wrapping part, it's just easier for that. All right. Your next step is going to be tilting the head to the side of the opposite direction. So he has a front head wound right now. He's going to tilt it backwards. All right.
Tilted head.
Yeah. You got to do it kind of like that. The mannequin is it's kind of like stiff, so it's going to stay in place. As long as you guys are showing that you guys are doing that, you guys are fine. You cannot verbally say it, right? If you guys just verbally say that you're tilting the head backwards, it's going to be a no-go, right? So make sure you guys are doing it. I recommend doing both. Verbally saying it and actually doing it so you're not leaving it up to chance, all right? Then the next step is going to be exposing the hood and then the helmet. All right, then you're gonna expose the wound, and then you're gonna grab the bandage from the casualty's IFAC. The bandage, right? The bandage is gonna be the only ones that we provide. You guys can't use your own bandage, all right? So when it comes to the bandage itself, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get 4 to 6 inches of excess. That's gonna create your first tell. And then you're gonna find the sterile part of the bandage. The sterile part of the bandage, what I'm talking about, is basically gonna be anything that has not been touched yet. So it cannot touch your hands. It cannot drop on the ground. It can't touch the weapon. It can't touch the plywood, all right? So basically nothing touches that except the wound, all right? You guys can't touch it, put it on the wound, and then realize that you guys already touched it. That's gonna be a no-go, all right? So you guys gotta make sure you don't touch whatever side you're putting on. The grader's gonna be watching that, all right? So once you do that, all you're gonna do is just wrap around. When you're wrapping around, you gotta make sure the visor is clear, so it's not going over the visor. He needs to be able to see, and he needs to be able to hear. And I know time when you're doing the wrap, you're touching the wound itself, right? Like if I'm doing the wrap and I'm holding where the wound's at to hold the bandage, that would be a no-go, right? So just make sure you guys are tracking where your guys' fingers at all times. You know, you guys might just be wrapping it and forget that you guys accidentally brush it. If you guys brush it, it's gonna be a no-go, right? So at no point you guys gonna touch the wound. The only thing that's touching the wound is that sterile part of the bandage itself. All right. Once he's done with the wrap, he's gonna grab the 2 tails, and all he's doing is tucking it in. Per standard, you're supposed to do like a square knot. We're not doing a square knot just because it's ripping up the bandages, and whatever bandage we have left is what we're really gonna test today. So if people keep tying it, they're just ripping up the bandages. It's gonna really suck during test day, right? So don't tie it. All you're doing is just grabbing it and just tucking it in the back. Both tails have to be tucked, all right? Not one or the other. So make sure both tails are tucked. And if he has a front head wound, he's doing it the opposite side. So he's tucking it in the back. If he has a back head wound, he's tucking it in the front, all right? All right, so make sure that it's not too tight, not too loose, all right? How to tell if it's too tight if you can't tuck it in. If it's too tight, if you can't tuck it in, it's gonna be no-go. And if it's too loose, if the grader, once you guys are done wrapping it and the time ends or whatever, he comes up and he's able to easily pull it off from whatever side, it's gonna be a no-go, right? So you gotta make sure that the casualty is able to move with the bandage. So once he does that, he's making sure that it's not touching the ears, because the ears cannot be covered as well, right? Visor, ears, wound fully covered. So no tape of the wound and no wound itself. So the wound's gonna be identified as a red marking, but that's including the tape as well, right? So you gotta make sure the full tape is covered as well. So once it's to his liking and he sees that it's good, he's gonna sit the casualty back down. Make sure you guys are dropping the casualty safely. If you guys just like throw him down, it's gonna be a no-go because you got further injury. All right. So once it's to his liking, he's gonna notionally say 4 things. You don't actually have to do it, but you gotta say 4 things.
Watching the casualty for any further life-threatening conditions, searching for any other injuries, treating for shock, and seeking medical aid.
All right, those 4 things, right? It's also part of the beginning. You don't have to say verbatim, and it doesn't have to be in order, but you gotta say or notionally do those 4 things. All right. Don't leave it up to chance. Just remember that you guys are gonna be doing this in ProMaster and test day, so don't try to say them loudly. Because if you only hear 3 things and it's a no-go, don't leave it up to the graders to see if it's a no-go or go. All right, biggest thing when it comes to the bandage, right? Before the test starts, make sure the bandage is in there. All right, make sure the bandage is in the IFAK. So do PCIs before you get on there, and make sure it's wrapped correctly. Right? Say the previous candidate didn't wrap it correctly, and it's your guys' time to test. You guys are spending a few minutes trying to rewrap it and not touching the sterile part or any part that you guys want to be the sterile part, because if you're touching the